Hello, beautiful soul. In this video, I want to talk about how to build better resilience. So this is a super important skill. And this is something that I struggled with for so many years. And after many ups and downs, after a lot of disappointments and losses in my life, I feel like I have come to a place where I can genuinely feel confident in my ability to be resilient, to regulate myself in times of high stress or disappointments or losses or unexpected events. And so these are some of the things that might help if you struggle with this resilience thing, if you have found yourself spiraling when something goes wrong. So the first thing I want to talk about is emotional awareness and emotional regulation. So depending on the thing, so some things can be huge, like some of the things I've encountered in life are huge losses, like my spouse suddenly dying in a car accident, other losses of family members, job losses, really big events. And it's important to give ourselves the time and space to feel things, even if that period of time, it spans over many months. So like if something's quite small, these things we're going to get over them a lot quicker. When it's a huge loss, like a life-shattering loss, that's going to take longer. That's going to take more time. And it's about acknowledging that when we do experience a huge loss like that, a life-shattering loss, our body is going to put us in a state of shock, in a trauma response. We're going to go numb potentially. And so we're not going to be able to move through these big events as quickly as maybe we would expect. Like, this is something that I was trying to do. I was trying to hurry up the process to start to overcome this and feel better without realizing I was actually avoiding my emotions. Like I was forcing myself to move forward and take steps forward without processing things appropriately. So acknowledging where we're at, acknowledging our emotions and understanding our emotions is like a really important first step. Allowing space to process, feeling all the feelings when we have capacity. Sometimes for really big things, we do need a break. It's to go for walks, to be mindful in the moment, look at the details of the trees and the plants and things around me to bring myself into the moment. It's to do grounding exercises like the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique. That's really helpful. It's to create physiological safety. And sometimes I haven't known how to do this. In the past, I didn't know how to do this for myself or even what worked for me. And so I spoke to friends, family, a grief counselor, a psychologist, used what was available around me, did research as well to try and find techniques and things that helped. There are plenty of meditations on YouTube as well that can be effective. It depends on how big the emotions are. But this is really important, like grounding ourselves, regulating our nervous system. And then once I've allowed space to feel the emotion, understand the emotion, regulate my nervous system, then it's about reframing challenges and setbacks. Am I resisting this reality? I used to get really stuck in these thinking patterns of, why me? I wish this didn't happen. I wish things were different. These things are not helpful. I would stay in these, why me? I wish this didn't happen for way too long, months sometimes, resisting the reality. So it's about radical acceptance. The thing that happened to me, it might not have been fair. It might have been so unjust. Life's not always fair. Life is not always just. It's about having that radical acceptance to acknowledge that. This is where I'm at. Asking the why questions in terms of, was there something in terms of my behavior, in terms of my actions that contributed to this outcome? Having that reflection, that introspection, sometimes that will be the case and sometimes it won't. Sometimes we experience things in life that are just not fair. But there's always a wisdom to be found. There's always a learning. There's always a gift. It doesn't matter how tragic the circumstance is. There's always something we can take from everything. That doesn't mean we're denying the reality or that something was unjust and not fair and that we were a victim of something. It just means we were a victim of this. We did experience this unjust circumstance, and this is what we've learned from it. And this is how we're going to move forward. So we're taking ourselves from a victim mindset and a victim mentality. And this is even if we have been a victim of something. I've been stuck in victim mentality for longer than I needed to be. Just because we're a victim of something, it doesn't mean we need to be a victim perpetually in a way that keeps us stuck, having a victim mentality of poor me, why me. It's about moving from the victim to what is the vision that I want to create for my life, or where am I going now? When we're ready, of course, like it's all about timing here. It's all about giving ourselves enough love and grace and self-compassion and time to work through the process. And part of compassion is about forgiveness. It's about having enough compassion for ourselves to forgive the people or things that wronged us, not for them, for us, to let go of the pain and the hurt that we have experienced, that we were holding on to, let go of those emotions so that we can move forward. It's not about accepting poor behavior or condoning poor behavior or even accepting people back into our lives or dynamics back into our lives who have shown us that they're not safe for us or good for us. It's not about that. It's just about letting go of the emotion we attach to the thing that was done to us, the injustice that occurred, so that we can move forward with peace in our heart. So another thing I do is lean on my support network. And these are people that are genuinely supportive, that don't make us feel worse, that make us feel better, that help us regulate, that validate us, that understand us, that care for us, to be able to share vulnerably with where we're at and what we're feeling. This can be really, really helpful. And for me, that's friends, family, a therapist. These things have been really helpful. And then once I'm at this point where I feel like I've got my emotions under control, then I'll start looking at stepping out of my comfort zone again, moving forward, taking steps in the direction that I want to be going in, being brave. And sometimes these steps are very small. If it's been a huge tragedy, it might be re-engaging with friendships that I didn't have capacity for, or hobbies that I didn't have capacity for. Trying new things, not going out, not going into chaotic, crazy environments, nothing too excessive, but just taking small steps in the right direction can be really beneficial. One thing I used to do was when I wasn't resilient, I would just get stuck. I would get stuck in a hole and wouldn't move. So making small steps in the right direction can help with that, to avoid that feeling stuck for too long. And so sometimes this looks like learning a new skill, having a new experience. It could be learning from that thing that led me to that experience. So now I would step in the right direction by expressing my truth, by speaking up, by having good boundaries. These are all the types of things. Another thing that's important to do is have rituals in place around self-care. So that means when we have capacity to start getting back into these things, eating healthy, looking after ourselves, looking after our body, getting enough sleep, like all of these things can be really beneficial. Another thing I want to talk about, and one of the key things that has helped me, is anchoring in a purpose. And so when I was in like the throes of grief after my partner died, my purpose was literally to get out of bed and feed my dog and take her for a walk. And that was okay. That got me going. With other types of disappointments, my purpose has been giving back, doing things that are meaningful to me, connecting with people on hobbies and experiences that I really enjoy, like multi-day hiking for me. It's also been being altruistic, supporting others, thinking about things and people outside of ourselves. These things can be really beneficial in terms of our purpose and anchoring into that. And sometimes we can even turn that pain that we've experienced into our purpose. And then the final thing I wanted to talk about is celebrating our resilience. We are capable of enduring so much and coming out the other side. And it's about acknowledging, yes, that was a really intense experience and I survived it and I'm okay now and I've shown that to myself. And how amazing am I? So we're reinforcing to ourselves that we can be taken down and we can rise. It's like that whole phoenix energy. And a lot of times resilience doesn't actually feel like we're that strong. We don't feel like we're resilient. But doing these things actually shows we are resilient. We can overcome so much. We're often so much stronger than we give ourselves credit for. So I really hope that this has helped someone. I love you. Bye.